trying to be like, why am I this way? And I did the brain scan, and I'm thinking the doctor's gonna come back and like, oh, you are a genius. That's what the problem is. You have the most gifted brain we've ever seen. And turns out that I had brain damage.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Miranda Moments, where I take a moment and dive a little bit deeper with our guest. And today we're talking to Nick Cannon.
Yes, Miranda Moments.
It's a Miranda moment.
How you gonna read me my rights?
I really could. You have the right to remain silent. Everything you say and
I'm
do.
gonna use that.
Okay.
Miranda, you said I can stay silent. I have the right.
You can. You have every right. I want to talk to you about being neurodivergent.
Oh, yes.
And because I recently discovered that I am neurodivergent, and you've also talked about being diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder,
Yes.
NPD.
Yeah.
And I want to know, with your neurodivergency specifically, did you feel different at a younger age? Did you know something was up?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, back then they just called it hyperactive or AD. It was before they added the H. It was just ADD back in the day. And then, like, I was a hyperactive kid who loved attention. And that's all I thought it was, because my dad has ADD, like it runs in my family. So I'm like, oh, that's just how we are.
Yeah.
Like, I can't finish a plate of food. I can't sit still. Dyslexic with books. The words was moving all over the page and stuff. So I was like, that's just the energy that we have. And it has been a benefit to me my entire life.
How did your ADHD or your neurodivergency help you as a young gangster? How did it help you with that thug life?
That is so hilarious that you put it that way. But I'll share this with you. As a kid, ADHD at the time was just looked at as I was a bad kid. And that label probably hurt me more than the actual diagnosis. But it also, like, it was cool to be bad.
Yeah.
So having to go to the nurse's office, after recess to calm down was like, oh yeah, it was so, and then once I cause I was always pretty intelligent and could kind of put things together, but I wasn't the greatest student because I couldn't focus. I couldn't apply, but I was street smart. And I looked up to the drug dealers and the pimps and the hustlers. And so it was really easy for me to follow those guys. And it was kind of like, I fit in very easily. But when it came to, one, I was saved by the entertainment industry, which still allowed me to do everything that I wanted to do. But now I have this space of comedy to feed my ego and all that. But that's what really saved me. But when I understood that, this neurodivergence experience has been going on since I was a kid, and people were, misdiagnosing me with things that they thought was a behavioral issue, or that I wasn't smart enough, that I couldn't finish reading a book. So therefore, I'm like, I don't want to do none of this stuff.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm not going to class. I'm not doing, like those. I was like, all of those decisions. And again, I always bring it back to being a father. I notice in my own kids, and I'm like, I know what's going on here.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not that you don't want to try, or that it's like people aren't understanding what you're experiencing right now, and they think you're acting out, or they think that, but really you're trying to protect yourself.
Yeah.
So luckily, because it could have went way worse for me, you know what I mean?
100%.
And I lost a lot of guys to the streets, and friends now that, been in prison 25, 30 years, because they were just like me, but they just made some different choices. Now as a grown man, I'm like trying to be like, why am I this way? And I did the brain scan, and I'm thinking the doctor's gonna come back and like, oh, you are a genius. That's what the problem is. You have the most gifted brain we've ever seen. And turns out that I had brain damage.
Did you do the scan with Dr. Amen?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I did that too.
Yeah, and then I'm thinking Dr. Amon's going to come out like, man, I've never seen a brain like yours.
Yeah,
this is wonderful. And he was like, yo, your frontal lobe looks like you've had like 6 concussions.
Do you know what the brain damage was caused by?
It said it happened when I was younger. And then there was like, my he did all of the whole thing. You could see his episode on his podcast. They cover it, and it's like I had so much toxicity in the brain, and it was like they don't know if it was from childhood trauma or if it was more just like it could happen. But he was like, it's definitely started when you were a child. And it was like, and obviously he always says like, you can get a healthier brain. It's never too late. So I've been doing all of the practices past, in the recent times. But if we really start to understand how our minds work and how a healthier brain and mental process, if we just start teaching that, you'll save so many lives.
Yeah. And your kids and the world are lucky to have you speaking out about this, because this world isn't geared to support or help neurodivergent people
At all.
Specifically with narcissistic personality disorder, people hear narcissism and they're like, that's the worst fucking thing ever. Like,
having heard that term for so long, and now I'm in this space of trying to have a better brain, and when you learn that there's a lot of decision making that goes on, I believe it's in your cerebellum, and even the stuff with my frontal lobe is like, oh, I don't have a lack of empathy, it's just not clicking. Like if somebody, it's like, oh, those experiences where someone else may be in tune for whatever reason, it takes me a little longer to understand.
Yeah.
But then there's also this connection where I'm working on my empathy, especially as a father, because I used to be like, yo, I gotta hustle, I gotta drive, I gotta turn up, and I was like, well, not as a father, you don't have to do all of those things, so that kind of shifted. But my everyday MO up until I became a father was like, I got to get mine. I got to be the richest. I got to be the most powerful. I got to be the most popular. I got to be the funniest. I got, like it was always that to where, and I was like, I don't have to be any of those things. If any, actually, how much I love others is really the most important part. And someone who's socially awkward and an introvert actually has issues with expressing emotion in a real way. So that's where the struggle has been and continues. But I mean,
and that's why it would manifest in your relationships, because it would be really hard.
Because I can love bomb all day, and I can once the chase and all. But then once I'm like there and like, all right, you're really getting to know the real me, and like I'm like, all right, I run. You know, like, so I just thought I was an introvert and I didn't like to really be around people unless I was on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I know how to be on and I could be fake in Hollywood all day long, but like I get really nervous and uncomfortable when I have to be myself because I don't think my brain moves at the same frequency that everyone else's.
I relate to you so deeply because no, seriously, because as somebody who is all of those things, a little socially uncomfortable, definitely I'm OCD. Like I thought I was autistic, to be honest, because I had all of this discomfort and I was like, everyone else seems to be functioning and doing life so much better than I am. And I don't get what the fuck's up. Like I feel like there has to be a reason. And actually for me, getting some clarity in that, getting a diagnosis was really freeing because I was like, okay, I'm not just dysfunctional. Like there is something different in my brain. And it wasn't the fault of anyone. People just didn't know. Now there's more education. And it's why, again, these conversations are so important. But people didn't know what was up with me. And it was like, you just need another tutor. You just need this. Oh, you don't want to go to this party? That's because you're lame and whatever. It's like, no, I actually can't stand the sensory experience of the lights and the sounds and the smells. I get so overstimulated and overwhelmed.
And they think you have, like, what's wrong with her? Why
exactly. And then forever, I was like the downer. I was just the boring person. And I was like, no, listen, I'm just trying to get the fuck by. I literally am so overstimulated. Did you ever feel shame or embarrassment before these diagnoses or this comprehension?
Not really, because I think self-discovery is so amazing for me. So even like you said, like you get to be, oh wow, that's what it is. And if I can still be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday, then I'm all for it. And I never accepted labels either, so I don't care what someone calls me or diagnoses me with. Like, so that stuff never really stuck, but it was, I wear it all with a badge of honor. There's nothing that I am that I'm not proud of. So even when everybody's like, "Oh, you got ADHD," I was like, "Damn right, I got it." Like, and I'm using it to the best of my ability. And even, diagnosed with lupus in 2012. It was like some of the scariest times in my life. But I was like, I'm gonna wear this. I'm gonna fight through it, and hopefully I can be an inspiration to other people who are dealing with autoimmune conditions. So everything that someone's ever thrown at me, I just wear it.
You make these things kind of like your superpower.
Absolutely. It's still a struggle. I'm still learning, but like fatherhood is the thing that's probably grounded me more than anything, and actually taking me on the journey to actually try to be a better version of myself, but not for myself, but for my kids. Yeah.
I think it's also interesting just being in the industry you're in. You talk about, wanting to be the best and the ego and kind of, the overinflated sense of self. It's like that comes with fame, that comes with celebrity, that you have a power. So I feel like it's a fine line to walk between truly having like NPD or then actually just being kind of somebody with narcissistic tendencies who's famous.
Yeah, that's what Dr. Amen told me. He was like, yo, you're just probably one of the first to speak out. He's like, but the majority of people in your industry are experiencing NPD. Yeah. It's like, I just was like, look, I am this. I got the diagnosis. He's like, but that's who we are. Like, we want to be the best. Our egos, we wear them and it's only because we're so sensitive. So we got to wear our egos to help protect us.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, you got this. You did great in this audition. You're up here today, and you suck tomorrow, and so we're dealing with this.
It's a defense mechanism.
Yeah, so you gotta build this bravado in this industry that ultimately affects all your relationships outside of your career.
Well, I just want to take a moment to kind of let you know how admirable I think it is that you're talking about this and speaking out, because my wife has let me know. I'm white, obviously.
No.
Yeah,
Miranda.
I'm white, and she will often say, you were privileged to grow up in a household that allowed you to express your emotions freely, to go to therapy, to kind of do that self-exploration. Raven will tell me that in the Black community, it's often looked down upon. And so I think the fact that you're talking so openly about your mental health and your struggles and what you're learning and growing is really wonderful.
Thank you. I think we have to do it. I mean, you hit it on the head, specifically in the Black community, specifically with Black men. We're always, we've been dehumanized in so many experiences that people don't even think that we can feel and emote in the same way.
Yeah.
Because I call it the lion syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you see a Black man, that's like if you saw a lion walking down the street, you're not thinking about, I wonder how that lion's, you're like, oh shit, that's a lion.
Yeah.
So you're not thinking about how that Black man feels, because you're more concerned of are you afraid?
Mm-hmm.
Or and because of that kind of makes us more standoffish. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because we're like, if you and I were in an elevator and I didn't know you, depending on the look on your face, I don't know if I would speak or not.
Right.
Just because it's like, one, I don't want to scare you. You know what I mean? But I'm also like, I wonder how she feels about me. And I could be having the best day or the worst day. But if we're in there, there's a preconceived notion that's like, this white lady is afraid of me.
Yeah.
And just so it has to go as quickly as possible, I'm gonna just stay quiet. I'm gonna look forward. But that's my now. The person I am today, if I'm in there, I'm like, how you doing? You good? You all right? Just to even, and that's not natural for me. My nature is to, I can't wait to get out this elevator.
Yeah, but
now I've been learning to be like, yo. Offer a smile. Say hello.
Yes, and that is such a vulnerability. I think that's maybe what people don't even understand, that for you as a grown Black man to have to think that this young white woman might come into an elevator and freak out and then put me in a position where I am now in danger in a way, because I'm going to have to say I didn't hurt her or do anything, or I wasn't looking at her weird. To have you then be the person who's going to extend actually an olive branch, if you will, or just an informal greeting, which we would expect between humans, is you being open and vulnerable and putting yourself in a position where you don't know what you're going to get. It's a risk.
And it's going against status quo, because for generations and years, society, it literally was laws that black men couldn't speak or even look a white woman in the eye. So even like it may not have been taught to me, but I'm 2 generations away from that. Like my grandfather, it was illegal for him to speak to
it's
a
like a lot
white
closer
woman.
than we think.
So in that sense, where times are changing, gratefully, but now it's like that stuff that we have been preconditioned to not like. I don't think nobody taught me that, but it's just like, oh, this is the culture, and I feel like we're finally getting away with it because now people are seeing each other as human beings, and we're not just classifying one another. And like I said, I've had to deconstruct a lot of that stuff just within me. I'm loving the fact that we've been able to hold on to our cultures, but now at least start to have these conversations where we can embrace each other's cultures.
Well, I hope, yes, I agree with you. And it's been long enough. It's been long enough that we've basically demonized and looked down upon and judged and ridiculed each other.
Time to have these uncomfortable conversations.
I'm proud of us. We're 2 neurodivergent people having such a great conversation. Yes. It's like love on the spectrum. All right. A quick rapid fire.
Let's do it.
Stand-up comedy or studio recording?
Oh, stand-up comedy.
Wild 'N Out or The Masked Singer?
Wild 'N Out. Even though I love Masked Singer, but it's my baby.
Turbans or fitted?
Ooh, turbans.
Early mornings or late nights?
Early mornings.
More kids, more shows?
More kids.
Nickelodeon Nick or grown-up mogul Nick?
Nickelodeon Nick.
Phone call or FaceTime?
Phone call.
Freestyle battle or scripted monologue?
Oh, that's a good one. Scripted monologue.
Fame or freedom?
Freedom.
One queen or a kingdom?
Say that again?
One queen or a kingdom?
Oh, a kingdom.
Thanks, Nick. I didn't even have to redo your Miranda rights. Thank you for doing this with me.
No doubt. That was awesome.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Miranda Moments. We'll see you later.